Hey everybody, welcome to Overcoming Overeating, and I hope you've all had a good weekend. We have had snow again, and I know a lot of people have, so I hope everybody's cleared out and doing well. So tonight we are going to begin to tackle step 4. And I just want to say hi and welcome. I see Teresa, welcome, and welcome to whoever else is coming. So I'm so happy for you all. And so I wish I could say hi and say to everybody, hi, John. And anyway, I'm sending love. Mwah! So glad to see you. So we're going to start to tackle step 4, which is our inventory. And this is one of the steps where I have to be honest, this is where people have a tendency to run for the hills. So stick with me. I promise I'm going to do the best I can to help you get through this. And I really want to encourage you to let's do this in the very best way and try not to be afraid. We have God with us, and so we don't have to be afraid. And we have each other, and God has provided many tools and many ways for us to get through things that are tough. So don't be afraid. Let's do this. All right. So anyway, so the inventory, I always think about step 4, which is, it's where we go down deep and we look at all the underlying issues that are behind our compulsive eating. And we're doing a searching and fearless, thorough moral inventory. And a lot of people wonder, what does this have to do with food? And why do I have to do this? And actually, this is where people say, like, well, I don't get it. Like, I haven't done anything terribly wrong. And I think with us as people who struggle with food, we might maybe compared to alcoholics and drug addicts, maybe we haven't done some of the things that people might do in a drug addiction. Like we might have stolen food. Many people have stories where they've stolen food or money for food, or we've taken from our families or different things, time, energy. There's so many things that we'll get to a little bit later. I don't want to start diving in right in the beginning because we're going to talk today a little bit about the process. And then later, we're going to talk next time. We're going to do this in 2 parts. So tonight, we're going to talk more about the process of doing step 4. And then next time, we'll talk a little more about the content. So this is so deep and rich. And you'll see as you look at the workbook, it goes through layers and layers of parts of this. And you just have to take it slow and take it step by step and little by little, and just not try to tackle more than you're ready for at once. So I like to think of this as cleaning house. Like, you know what I was thinking about as I was preparing? I was thinking about how, I don't know about you, but one of the nice things about going to a hotel is, you walk into a perfectly clean place that you're going to stay, and you walk in and none of the place, it's not cluttered, and you don't have any of your things around, none of your to-do list is there. You just walk in, the room's perfectly clean, the bed's perfectly made, the drawers are empty. There's just nothing for you to do except for be there. And I mean, it depends on why you're in the hotel, but in the room, it's just clean and it's nice, and you can just, go to sleep and put your things away. And it's just a nice, comfortable feeling. And it's also comfortable and nice when your house is clean and you come in and everything's put away and it's all nice. And I don't know about you all, but, I am not great at getting my house perfectly clean. I wish I was better, but I do have some challenges in the organization area. And there are things like paper piles, and I do have those closets with I don't know what to do with them, and, the drawers in the closets where there's boxes of things that are not exactly properly organized. Some things I should get rid of. And most of us have those. I guess sometimes most people have a place, maybe in the basement or the garage or a closet, where it's messy. And, these are sort of burdens if we think of them like things we know we should tackle. We should clean that closet out, or that drawer, or that garage. And, you know, I want you to think about this step in the same sort of way. Although I know for me, it's very easy if you could just close the door and not look at it. You want to just pretend that that isn't there. And we could just shove that down there and just forget about it. But the problem is, you know, it's there. And we know it's there, and it is sort of bothersome. It's nice when things are clean. It feels better when things are clean and straight. It's a nice feeling when you have an uncluttered, unmessy life. And when you don't have the added burden of things that you don't need, and the excesses of things that you don't, that are, you know, really just extra burdens of things that you just, you know, maybe it's just mess. It's just a mess. So when we think about our heart and our soul and our mind, in the same way, you know, if there's things that we need to get rid of, it's the same thing. In step 4, if you read in AA, they talk about 2 blocks that people suffer from in doing this step. And I want to give 2 examples that are related to the blocks that they mention. And the 2 blocks that they mention, I see commonly with my clients, and they are pride and fear. So with pride, it's more like, I don't really need to look at that. Why do I need to do this? It's sort of, I think, this attitude, like, I don't really have to look at those sort of problems. I'll hear people say, well, I just have a problem with food. You know, what do I really have to spend my time digging into things? Like, I don't really have any serious problems. And so why do I have to go looking? So of course, you know, I do have to remind people that, you know, if you've had a struggle going on for 10, 15, or 20 years, and you've tried a million diets and they're not working, there might be a problem that we might need to take a look at. And usually, if you've done everything else, there might be something fueling the overeating. So maybe we should take a look and see what might be there. Now, of course, there is the possibility of a chemical addiction to the foods that we're eating, because the processed foods and sugars and things could be a big reason for it. But oftentimes, whether we realize it or not, and it may not be something horrible like murdering somebody or having an adulterous affair. It could be, you know, subtle things like people pleasing and having anger and bitterness. These sort of things that are festering, having deep resentments or fear or anxiety that doesn't ever get dealt with, or even some of the inability to cope with regular daily life, the daily grind, just feeling overwhelmed and not having a way of managing. And these things could be just, if we leave them alone and we don't deal with them, they become fuel for our overeating problems. And so we need to be willing to look. And if we just say, I don't need to, I don't really have any, you know, and then just shut the door here, then a person oftentimes will stay in their overeating problem, and they just will avoid dealing with the dirt and the closets, and there they go, and they'll just stay in their problem. Cleaning the house is a necessary step that needs to happen, and sometimes you just have to kind of change your attitude about it and just be willing. And so the other block is fear. And that is sort of more like, don't you dare look. You know, I don't want to look. I'm afraid what I'm going to find. And people will just be petrified. They just have this feeling like this is a daunting, and I'm going to find things about myself that I can't face. And people don't even, when I'll ask them, what are you so afraid you're going to find? They don't even know what they're afraid of. They just think that if they start digging, they're going to find some horrible secrets about themselves. And, you know, a lot of times it's not even, it's just fear for the sake of fear. And there's not really there's no reality to it attached to it. Oftentimes, these people, and these are, I'm giving examples of people that I see who have, like, for example, one person, Susie, who was a fear example, or Liz, who was a pride example. These are 2 people who who paused at the 4 steps, stayed in their food addiction, and didn't deal with it for a really long time, maybe a year or two of me encouraging them and them trying and falling and trying and falling, and then finally just getting up the guts to say, okay, fine, nothing's working, I'll do it. And then they finally, in the one hand, faced the fear, and the other hand swallowed the pride and went ahead and said, okay, I will get the help that I need, and I will take the step. And the beautiful thing is, in both cases, it turned out to be that this 4 step is the beginning of what is considered the working steps. Steps 4 to 9 are the working steps, and it's the beginning of the house cleaning process. And in both cases, the beautiful thing is that once everything got cleaned out, these 2 people, both and so many others likely, but these are 2 examples, ended up having a flourishing, beautiful, amazing recovery where, their abstinence and their freedom with food became easy. They stopped fighting. They had every hope and promise that you would have wanted. But it had to start with sort of admitting that they had a problem, coming to believe in God, and then getting to this place of being willing to start to do this house cleaning process. And so I don't want anyone to get into this idea that when you're doing your inventory, that it becomes something where now you're going to start obsessively blaming or beating yourself up. That's not what this is about. I love the saying, look, don't stare. And I do believe what we need to do, it's like the Marie Kondo thing where you go into the basement, you go into the garage of your heart and your mind, and you look what needs to stay and what needs to go, what needs to get out. And some things you'll realize there'll be some insights that will be helpful you'll be like, wow, this is a good thing. I want to keep this. And I love this. And then there's other things you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to need some help with this. And this is going to I'm going to put this in the pile of things that I'm going to need to work on. But at least you're now looking at it instead of walking around in a dysfunctional lifestyle with all this baggage that you're carrying around and not dealing with. And with God's help, we'll be able to overcome and heal from everything, even if it's a lot. And but I'll tell you what, in most cases, it's never that much. I have rarely seen a person where once they did this, they found it was more than they could handle. I mean, once cleaning a basement's not a lot of fun, but once it's done, it was like it's done. It's done. You did it. So. I feel like if you could just be hopeful about the process, that you will be gaining insights, you will be setting yourself, getting free with the Lord's help and the help of your supports, getting free from things that are dysfunctional, that are keeping you stuck in your life, and helping you to be a better, healthier, happier person. And so I want to encourage you as you go forward to be kind to yourself, to try to remember to look at the positive things while you're also finding things that you might not like. Also to know that there's nothing you're going to see that everyone else doesn't also. I mean, you might feel like you're special and that you're the worst person, but believe me when I tell you, if you're human, you're just like everyone else. We all have the same stuff. Some of us have some worse, this area or that area, but we all have things that are maybe our weaker spots, and we're going to need to give ourselves grace, knowing that the Lord gives us grace, that his mercy is new every morning, that he does not hold things against us, whatever it is, nothing. And we need to trust that he's holding us by the hand, that he's walking with us as we go into the basement and into the garage with, our trash bag to get rid of the junk. And he's going to help us to go through it all. And you just need to, don't be, it's not helpful to take out a 2x4 and bang yourself over the head for being so messy. Be kind and gracious to yourself through every bit of it. If you catch yourself taking out that 2x4, throw it out, break it, get rid of it. That's not what this is about. God is merciful and you need to be merciful. That's the only way this is going to help you. If you start to beat yourself up, you're not going to be able to get through the process. And this is not what this is about. The inventory is meant to help you to be cleansed and to be whole. It's not meant to push you, to make you feel bad or guilty or ashamed. That's not the point. So I encourage you to open the book. Don't, say your prayers. I put a prayer in the book. Say a prayer. Open yourself to the process. Use your support systems. Try to, talk to people about what's coming up as you go. Try not to be alone in this. Sometimes people who are practicing the steps do the 4th and 5th step together so that they share a little as they go and they don't try to just do the whole inventory all by themselves. If it feels overwhelming, for sure, reach out. I really encourage you to share on the page. I know it means being vulnerable, but I know that takes guts. I hope you will have the guts to open up and know that what you share is going to be the experience of others as well. You are not alone. We are all in this together. And believe me when I tell you, you will find out that if you share something, lots of other people are going to be like, yeah, me too. That is the way this works. So keep your hope that, as you go through this process, that things do get better. And this process is the beginning of your freedom. And I can tell you for sure, I promise you, it's not my promise. It's the promise of the 12-step way. And people since the 30s, 1935 or whatever it was, have been getting free using these steps and this process and really finding freedom where they're not fighting anymore. So trust the process, trust the Lord. And let me end with a couple of verses. So, just, in case you're, okay, Jeremiah 17:9-10. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? So this is okay. We're okay. We're allowed to look at our heart. Look, with the Lord. He'll help us. He is going to help us. Galatians 6:3-5. For if anyone thinks he is something when he is nothing, he deceives himself. So Lamentations 3:40, let us test and examine our ways and return to the Lord. Psalm 139:23-24, search me, O God, and know thy heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any grievous way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. James 1:12, blessed is the man who remains steadfast under trial, for when he has stood the test, he will receive the crown of life, which God has promised to those who love him. And so don't quit, keep going, step by step, little by little. I tried to make the questions as gentle as possible while being as, thorough as possible. And I just pray for all of you that the Lord will strengthen you and heal you and help you as you go. So I encourage any questions now. If you guys have anything that you want to talk about or comment on, I am here for you. And also I encouraged conversation during the week. If anybody wants to, be chatting, I would love to hear how people are doing. So what are you guys up to? How are we doing? I'm not seeing any. I see people watching, but I never seem to see any comments. Can you say hi? All right. Well. That's Charlie. He's saying hi. All right. Well, I can't see any comments. I don't know if I'm just not, if nobody is commenting, but anyway. All right. Well, I'm going to, oh, I see. I'm willing. Yay, Cindy. There we go. Should we complete the moral inventory by next week? There we go. Well, we have a couple of weeks set out for being able to do the inventory. And of course, if you can, great. that it might be hard to get it done in 2 weeks. And of course, there's no expectation. But if you can, that's great. I think if you can keep up with the group and the timing, that's great. But again, there's no pressure about that. I'm going to talk more about step 4 next week. So, just know that. So I see here, hi, friend, and Dr. Rhona, should I get the 90-day book or the workbook? Well, I think they work really well together. And so if I was making a suggestion, I think they're two totally different things. The 90-day book is a devotional. And so it just is a short reading every day. And the workbook is totally different. It's a workbook and it's going through the 12 steps. And I think they work hand in hand together with each other. So my vote would be both. And, if you wanted to pick one or the other, I don't think that it matters because they meet different needs. One is going through the 12-step process and the other is, a 90-day devotional, which also it's an active devotional. So there are questions and it does sort of help you get to the heart of things as well. It's actually influenced a lot by the same sort of messages. So, all right. Any more questions or comments from anybody? All right. Well, I am sending you all love and blessings, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And I hope to see you guys talking if you feel courageous enough during the week. Okay. God bless you.